365 wins in 365 days. That's the claim from President Donald Trump as he marks 1 year back in office. But behind the binder of victories lies a tariff storm shaking markets worldwide. Breaking tonight, President Donald Trump marks 1 year of his second term with a fiery anniversary speech, claiming 365 wins in 365 days and unveiling a sweeping new tariff that's already shaking global markets. In this speech, he laid it out about a binder of daily victories, strict immigration policies, record energy production, peace deals abroad, a 25% tariff on imports, and sharp words for America's allies. Every point was designed to show strength, but each one carries consequences we'll break down together. Now we're talking about the anniversary binder of wins. On January 20th, 2026, President Donald Trump walked into the White House press room holding up a thick binder and declared it proof of 365 wins in 365 days. He wanted Americans to see that every single day of his first year back in office delivered a victory. Inside that binder, he pointed to headline achievements: negative net migration for the first time in 50 years, a record drop in homicides, trillions of dollars in investments reshored to the U.S., and unprecedented energy production. He even claimed credit for peace deals ending conflicts abroad. Speaking directly to the nation, Trump said these wins prove his administration is rewriting America's story: stronger borders, safer streets, booming industry, and global respect. Whether you agree or not, the binder was meant to symbolize momentum, a government delivering results day after day. For viewers at home, the message was clear. Trump wanted you to feel that his America First promises are being turned into tangible outcomes. Now we're talking about the tariff announcement. Right after holding up his binder of 365 wins, Donald Trump turned to what he called his boldest economic move yet: a sweeping 25% tariff on imports. Speaking directly to viewers, Trump said this tariff would level the playing field and protect American workers from countries he accused of unfair trade practices. He framed it as a cornerstone of his second-term agenda, promising it would bring manufacturing back home and strengthen U.S. industry. The announcement wasn't just about numbers, it was delivered with the same energy as his victory claims, meant to show that America is taking charge of its trade destiny. Economists quickly warned that such a broad tariff could raise prices on everyday goods, from electronics to groceries, and ripple through global supply chains. But Trump insisted the short-term pain would lead to long-term gain, telling Americans that this was about sovereignty, strength, and putting America first in the global economy. Let's move into the market reaction. Right after Donald Trump rolled out his sweeping 25% tariff, the financial world jolted. He told Americans this was about protecting jobs, but the markets instantly showed the cost of that protection. The Dow Jones swung more than 600 points in a single day, a dramatic sign of investor uncertainty. Oil prices spiked past $90 per barrel, raising alarms about energy costs. The U.S. dollar strengthened, while Asian and European markets closed lower, reflecting fears of retaliation and disrupted trade flows. Trump insisted this volatility was proof America was finally standing strong, but analysts warned that industries from electronics to agriculture would feel the squeeze. Hedge funds rushed into gold and treasury bonds, signaling caution. For viewers, the takeaway is clear. One announcement in Washington sent shockwaves across the globe, and Trump wanted you to see that as America flexing its muscle, even as wallets and markets braced for impact. Now we're turning to the global allies' response. After Donald Trump announced his sweeping 25% tariff, the reaction from abroad was immediate and sharp. He told Americans this was about standing strong, but leaders overseas saw it as a direct challenge. In Europe, officials warned the move could spark retaliation, with the EU weighing counter tariffs on U.S. exports like cars and farm goods. China and South Korea condemned the policy as protectionist, saying it would destabilize supply chains and raise costs worldwide. Japan voiced concern that the tariff could derail ongoing trade talks and weaken regional cooperation. Even Canada and Mexico, America's closest partners under USMCA, signaled they were reviewing the impacts on cross-border commerce. Trump insisted this was proof America was finally demanding fairness, but allies framed it as a global shockwave. For viewers, the message is clear. One decision in Washington didn't just stay at home, it rattled capitals across continents. Now we're focusing on the domestic impact. After Donald Trump announced his sweeping 25% tariff, he told Americans this was about protecting jobs and rebuilding industry. But inside the country, the effects were felt almost immediately. Economists warned that higher import costs would trickle down into everyday life: groceries, clothing, electronics, even cars. Retailers began signaling price hikes as supply chains adjusted, while energy analysts cautioned that rising oil prices could push gas above $4 per gallon in some regions. Small businesses, dependent on imported materials, faced tough choices: absorb the costs or pass them on to customers. Trump insisted this was proof America was finally standing tall, but consumer groups argued it was a hidden tax hitting middle-class families already stretched by housing and health care. For viewers, the message is clear. One policy decision in Washington doesn't stay abstract. It shows up at the checkout line, the gas pump, and in the monthly budget. Now we're diving into the political debate. After Donald Trump announced his sweeping 25% tariff, he told Americans this was about protecting jobs and restoring industry. But in Washington, the reaction split sharply along party lines. Supporters, especially in manufacturing and energy sectors, praised the move as decisive leadership, saying it would punish countries accused of unfair trade practices and finally put America first. They argued that short-term costs were worth long-term sovereignty. Critics, however, pushed back hard. They warned the tariff was a hidden tax on consumers, driving up prices for groceries, fuel, and household goods. Economists cautioned that inflation could erode wage gains, while foreign policy experts highlighted the risk of retaliation that might isolate the U.S. from allies. In Congress, Republicans largely rallied behind Trump, while Democrats condemned the measure as reckless and destabilizing. For viewers, the message is clear. One policy decision has become a lightning rod, exposing America's deep political divide. After Donald Trump's anniversary speech and the sweeping 25% tariff announcement, he told Americans this was proof of strength and sovereignty. But here's where we connect the dots for viewers. Markets reacted instantly, allies pushed back, and households braced for rising costs. Supporters framed the tariff as decisive protection of American industry, while critics warned of inflation and strained alliances. Edward Grant reports cuts through the noise. These aren't abstract numbers or distant headlines. They're levers that shift global trade, investor confidence, and family budgets. By linking Wall Street volatility to grocery bills and international backlash to domestic debate, the breakdown shows how one decision in Washington reverberates across continents and into homes. For you watching, the takeaway is simple. Trump's anniversary wasn't just about celebrating wins, it was about reshaping the economic battlefield in real time. From the White House podium to your kitchen table, tariffs are more than headlines. They are choices with consequences. Edward Grant reports will keep connecting the dots so you understand not just what happened, but what it means for your future. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and join us again tomorrow.